mid-level department. She's going to be your Deputy Prime Minister. What do you think about the role she will play for you in government, if you get it?
I think the most important thing to take out of this reshuffle in relation to Angela Rayner is that we continue to work strategically together, that she is Shadow Deputy Prime Minister. That's hugely important to her and to me, and it puts her into a role which is crucial to the rebuilding of our country. So for all those reasons, this is a really good piece of evidence of our continued working and strong relationship together. This reshuffle answers a central question, which is, I think that Britain deserves a government that wakes up every morning absolutely determined to solve the challenges we have and to take our country forward. And we need that as soon as possible.
Right then, strap yourself in, because British politics just got its most explosive plot twist since Boris Johnson tried to convince us Partygate was actually a work event. Sir Keir Starmer, the man who spent the last year looking like he's perpetually queuing at the post office, has just announced he's bringing back Angela Rayner into his cabinet. Yes, you heard that correctly. The woman who resigned in disgrace over a £40,000 stamp duty scandal is getting her seat at the table back, and half of Westminster is having an absolute meltdown whilst the other half is frantically updating their CVS. Before we dive into this political soap opera that makes EastEnders look tame, do us a quick favour. If you're enjoying this chaos as much as we are, smash that subscribe button. Genuinely, over 94% of you haven't clicked it yet. It's completely free, takes literally 2 seconds, and it helps us keep bringing you these delicious political scandals served piping hot. Cheers if you did. Right, back to the drama. So let's rewind to September, when Angela Rayner, the woman Starmer himself called the best social mobility story this country has ever seen, dramatically resigned from not one, not two, but 3 positions simultaneously. Deputy Prime Minister, Housing Secretary, and Deputy Labour Leader all went up in smoke faster than Liz Truss's premiership. The reason? An independent ethics probe found she'd breached the ministerial code over underpaying stamp duty on a seaside flat. Now, for those of you thinking, what's the big deal about stamp duty? Imagine if you forgot to pay your council tax and then became Housing Secretary. The irony is so thick you could spread it on toast. But here's where it gets properly juicy. In a recent interview with The Observer, Starmer didn't just hint at Rayner's return. He practically rolled out the red carpet and hired a marching band. When asked if he missed his former deputy, he went full sentimental, saying, "Yes, of course I do. I was really sad that we lost her." Then, when pressed about whether she'd be back in cabinet, he dropped the bombshell with a simple yes. She's hugely talented. No hesitation, no political waffle, just a straight answer, which, coming from a politician, is about as rare as finding a vegan option at a Conservative Party fundraiser. Now here's where Starmer tried to flip the script entirely. He suggested that misogyny, actual misogyny, had played a part in the criticism leveled at both Rayner and Chancellor Rachel Reeves in recent months. Bold move, Sir Keir. Absolutely bold. Because whilst there's undoubtedly a conversation to be had about how women in politics face disproportionate scrutiny, suggesting that a £40,000 tax discrepancy investigation was rooted in sexism is a kind of deflection that would make a goalkeeper jealous. It's like burning someone's dinner and then claiming they only noticed because they are prejudiced against chefs. The Conservatives, naturally, are having none of it. Keir Starmer, who's been leader of the opposition for roughly 5 minutes, but acts like she's been there since Thatcher's handbag days, absolutely savaged Starmer during Prime Minister's questions. She argued that any return for Rayner should come with one very specific condition. She must pay back the £40,000 of property taxes she avoided. And you know what? Fair point. It's rather like being caught shoplifting and then being offered the job of security guard. The optics are, shall we say, questionable. But let's talk about Angela Rayner herself for a moment, because her story is genuinely remarkable, scandal aside. Born Angela Bowen in 1980 in Stockport, Greater Manchester, she grew up on a council estate in circumstances that would make most politicians' "I understand ordinary people" claims look laughably hollow. She left school at 16 without any qualifications to become a full-time carer for her mother, who was battling autoimmune issues. No gap year in Thailand. No internship at daddy's law firm, just straight into the real world at an age when most politicians' children are still deciding which university will best suit their future cabinet ambitions. From there, She trained as a care worker, became a prominent trade unionist with Unison, and eventually clawed her way into politics through sheer determination and working-class grit. When Starmer calls her the best social mobility story this country has ever seen, he's not entirely wrong. This is a woman who went from caring for elderly residents on minimum wage to potentially being Deputy Prime Minister again. That's not just social mobility, that's social teleportation, which makes the stamp duty saga all the more baffling. Here's someone who genuinely understands what it's like to struggle with money, who's lived the kind of life most MPs only pretend to understand in their carefully crafted campaign videos, and yet she still managed to underpay £40,000 in property taxes. It's like a fitness instructor being caught eating McDonald's in their car. We're not saying it's unforgivable, but it does raise some eyebrows. The plot thickened earlier this week when sources close to Rayner made it crystal clear she would not be played like a pawn after reports emerged of a potential deal between her and Health Secretary were Streeting to run for the Labour leadership. The Daily Telegraph reported that Streeting's allies were pushing for a joint ticket arrangement, presumably with one of them as leader and the other as deputy. The source's response was magnificently blunt. There's no vacancy and there's no pact. Translation: back off. There's nothing to see here, and we're all very happy with Keir. Thank you very much. What this entire episode reveals is that British politics remains as chaotic, unpredictable, and absurdly theatrical as ever. We've got a Prime Minister bringing back a disgraced minister whilst claiming misogyny is the real problem, an opposition demanding financial restitution, and rumours of leadership challenges swirling around like leaves in an autumn storm. It's exhausting. It's infuriating, and yet somehow we cannot look away. The reality is that Starmer's decision to bring Rayner back is a calculated gamble. His betting that her popularity with certain sections of the Labour base, combined with the passage of time since the scandal, will outweigh the negative optics of reinstating someone who resigned over ethics violations. He might be right. The British public have notoriously short memories when it comes to political scandals. But he might also be spectacularly wrong, and this could become the albatross around Labour's neck heading into the next election. Except, of course, nobody actually believes that. This is Westminster, where loyalty lasts about as long as a British summer, and leadership challenges are more common than potholes on the M25. The fact that such discussions are even being reported suggests that some Labour MPs are eyeing the exit door marked Starmer and wondering how quickly they can install new management. Speaking of Starmer, he's having absolutely none of this leadership speculation. When questioned about stepping aside before the next election, he went into full defiance mode with a speech that sounded like it was written by a particularly optimistic motivational speaker. When I took over the Labour Party, everyone said to me, "You're not going to be able to change the party." We ignored that and carried on. Then they said to me, "You're not going to be able to win an election." We got a landslide Labour victory. He continued, "Now, 17 months into a 5-year Labour term, they say you're not able to change a country. Every time we've been in this position, we've defied them, and that's what I intend to do." It's a decent speech, to be fair. The problem is that actions speak louder than words, and bringing back a minister who resigned over ethics violations doesn't exactly scream change country so much as it whispers same old politics, different rosettes. The British public aren't stupid. They can smell political desperation from a mile away, and right now Westminster reeks of it. What makes this whole situation particularly fascinating is the timing. Labour secured that landslide victory everyone keeps banging on about, and just 17 months later they're already in damage control mode. The polls are slipping, the economic promises haven't materialized in people's pockets yet, and now Starmer's bringing back someone who was forced out over scandal. It's the kind of move that suggests either remarkable confidence or absolute panic, and honestly, it's hard to tell which. The question everyone's asking is whether Rayner's return will strengthen or weaken Labour's position. Her supporters argue she's a genuine working-class voice in a party that's becoming increasingly detached from its roots, someone who can connect with voters in a way Starmer's robotic delivery simply cannot. Her detractors point to the stamp duty issue and argue that bringing her back sends entirely the wrong message about accountability and standards in public life. Both sides have valid points, which is precisely why this debate is causing such spectacular arguments across the political spectrum. There's also the uncomfortable reality that Rayner's personal story, as inspiring as it undeniably is, doesn't grant immunity from criticism when things go wrong. Yes, She overcame extraordinary obstacles to reach the heights of British politics. Yes, that deserve recognition and respect. But it doesn't mean she gets a free pass on a £40,000 tax discrepancy. Accountability shouldn't have a sliding scale based on how difficult your childhood was. That's not how a functioning democracy operates. Meanwhile, the Conservative Party is absolutely loving this. After years of their own scandals, ministerial resignations, and enough drama to fill a Netflix series, they are finally getting to sit back and watch Labour implode over their own ethical controversies. Badenoch's demand that Rayner pay back the avoided taxes is political gold because it forces Labour into an impossible position. Either they defend the underpayment and look corrupt, or they criticise their own returning minister and look divided. It's a lose-lose situation wrapped up in a parliamentary question.